Aliana. If you promote Sebastian to God, he might have the power to promote, even if you think he doesn't have it. I might have learned that the hard way back in the day. I might have done that. I think I did do that. And that caused our Oatmeal World Discord server to smash to the ground like a smashing pumpkin, to totally be destroyed. It was pretty devastating. So you might say I learned that the hard way. That is how the server got totally destroyed, how it got raided a few times back in the day, over the years, especially in 2023. There's a crazy loophole. It's like you give somebody a really high roll, like you give this dear old Sebastian the Crab a really high roll. You might think that you disabled his ability to promote because he's disabled. Not disabled, but disabled. If he has that ability, he has that ability. He has that ability if he has that ability. But if you think maybe he doesn't have that ability, he may still have that ability, because it's like you may think that in the goddamn permissions of a role, you think like maybe if it doesn't have the power, that it doesn't have the power. But if we'll just call him Seb instead of Sebastian, does that sound like somebody you know, somebody else? No. Yes. If you give him a really high roll, you're like, oh man, that's okay. But if he has the power, to promote and demote, if one of his roles has the power to promote, then that power will be given to the highest role. His highest role will get those powers. If there's nothing blocking it, it's like that's what's gonna happen. It's probably gonna happen if there's nothing in there in the code to block it, then it's not gonna be blocked. But if there's nothing, then it's not gonna be blocked. If one of the roles has nothing on it, if you just leave it blank, then Seb will acquire the powers from the other roles. Any of his other roles might get it. I'll tell you what, this is a tricky thing. That's why it makes Discord so tricky. You know what I'm saying? If you don't trust somebody, why not just demote them? If they don't have your back, why not demote them? If they're not the best of the best, why not demote them? If they're not like 20 years old or older, why not demote them below the goddamn red admin roles? I'm not saying there isn't any exceptions to the rules. You can make some exceptions to the rules. The problem is, most of the time, people promote and demote for the wrong reasons, or for no reason at all. Now, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. I said it. I'll say it again. You could promote for any reason. You could promote for no reason. But with that said, somebody above you might do the same. Somebody above you might do the same. Whether it's Seb or somebody else, somebody might do the same. Somebody might do the same. Believe it or not, it's like, that's power to the people. That's accountability. That's the pyramid of power. Pyramid of power. The Game of Thrones. Goddamn Walking Dead now. In the goddamn Oatmeal World Discord server. The best of the best gotta rise to the top. And I'm not saying you gotta be active to get a high roll. But at the same time, does it matter? It might. It might. But if you're really cool, maybe you can have a high roll and it doesn't really matter. If you're like this guy named Logic Zombie, maybe you don't even have to talk at all, but because you do so many cool things in the real world or on other websites, hey, somebody like me might trust you or them. If you trust somebody, why not give them a really high roll? If you don't trust somebody, why not just demote them? If you're in my Discord, why don't you just listen to what I say and do it? Why not just demote everybody? And maybe just demote them a little bit or not. And say, hey, did you see that? Yeah, now you're under my thumb. You're under my thumb. Now listen to what I said. But if you're like some kind of tyrant and other people think you're abusing your powers, they might demote you, so you better watch out. But I'm telling you now that you got that power. But just because you have the power doesn't mean that you should. A lot of times I say stuff and people just don't get it, or they do and they don't care. I don't know the difference. Sometimes I just don't know the difference, but I'll tell you what. Seb is gonna be up to no good. If you want to go and you want to promote goddamn Caddy, you can do it. I don't care. A lot of people will say things like, oh, Oatmeal doesn't like Caddy. Doesn't matter if I like Caddy or not. That's not the point. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant, man. How many times do I have to say this, man? It's like, try to talk to people in my goddamn Discord server. So I tweet on Twitter every once in a while. On Twitter X, thanks Elon Musk. I go and I post a little bit to see who's paying attention. You know how many people pay attention? Probably only two or three. Can you do the math? I don't know, but I imagine that a lot of people don't really care. Maybe some people might see it in passing once in a blue moon. Maybe once a month, maybe once a year. Probably a little bit more than Roy, who might have been the best troll I've ever had. I wear his shirt every night as my pajamas, my goddamn pajamas. I don't know what Roy was up to. He could be an evil guy. He could be just a lame weirdo. A lot of times weirdos are promoted too high. And you know what? Sometimes over the years, since I created my Discord server in 2019, over the years, some people promoted people up too high. They promoted some trolls up too high, up too high, up too high. You think it's 420 and getting high. It's like they're getting too high. The roll is too high. The rank is too high. You getting too high. You getting too high. Seb, you getting too high. Seb, stop it. Under the sea. Under the sea. Stop it, Seb. I ain't my part. I'm gonna cry. I want to stop it, Seb. You're making trouble in my neighborhood. Sometimes you promote people too high. Sometimes I promote people too high. Even though I've been shy, I promote people too high. And that's how I fly like Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, and people down in the hood like Will Smith. Man, I try to make some things better. But I always mess up a lot of times over the years. I've messed up a lot of times, but I try to make it up. And I try to make up for it. I try to make up for it sometimes. And I try. But it doesn't come out right. And a lot of people misunderstand and take me out of context and a lot of other stuff. Over the years, you wouldn't understand it, but it's like, let me tell you a story. I was trying to tell you a story. People promote people up too high, and then I would see it sometimes, and then I would try to compensate. I'd try to react. People promote bad people up too high, and then I'll be like, okay, I'll promote some good people above that. And they would see that, and they'd be like, okay, let me promote some other bad people or the same bad people up even higher. And it's like a tug of war of power. And so it's like, over the years, in my goddamn Discord server, some bad people promote bad people up too high. And then I'd be like, okay, I'll promote good people up even higher. Then they promote the bad people up even higher. And I'm like, oh yeah? And then I promote those people, the good people, or a few people, up even higher. And they'll be like, oh yeah? High. Where'd that woman, boo? Bo, body! Oatmeal Diddy, body, everybody shut up, Seb. I do not condone that. I do not promote that. Even if I said it, you wouldn't understand it, because even if I say something, it doesn't mean what I mean. Because sometimes I say something that it doesn't really necessarily mean that I mean what I mean. Or even if I mean it, well, it doesn't really matter, because sometimes I say stuff that's like, sometimes over the years I've lied a few times. A little bit to see if anybody noticed. The past 40 years, almost 40 years, man. Sometimes I say a few things that might be a lie. I don't do it all the time. And if you take all the stuff that I've had, that I put out in my life, you'd be like, you know, that one thing is a lie. I do that to see who pays attention. I don't do it every day. I don't do it all the time. But a few times I lied or something. I trolled. I was sarcastic. Or a number of things. Sarcasm, hyperbole, not a Super Bowl, but a hyperbole, bunch of different things to see who's paying attention. So I can see who wants to be an heir of the oatmeal. So you can go and take over my Discord server, because the people in the highest role should be either oatmeal builders or Bob the Builder. Whatever you're building, you could be promoted higher, maybe, if you're really cool. And then other people could be promoted too. You gotta watch out, because Discord's really tricky. So I tell you, you gotta watch out. Otherwise, Seb's gonna take over the world. And you don't wanna do that. You don't want to let Shep have all the power. Let him go on